Hey everyone, it's Chantal Gerardy here from Online Business Marketing, and today we're going to be talking about how you can improve your website speed and your mobile experience. And we talk about the mobile experience for basically the user on the other side of it experiencing your website, because most people are actually looking at your website on a mobile phone. Today, the content is also going to be specifically around stuff that you or your virtual assistant or marketing doer can do, which means you don't have to get a developer in. So there is a section today where I'll talk about when you do need a developer versus what you can actually do and manage on your own, or a virtual assistant can do on their own. So a lot of the time, people don't even realize that their website is slow or clunky on a mobile. They haven't even possibly even looked at it themselves. So if you haven't already, that's your task right now, is to go and look at your website on your mobile phone. But I am going to be sharing with you today a page speed test as well. So a specific link that you guys can have, where you can actually go test the speed on a desktop and on a mobile, and then on top of it, it will also tell you, it'll also give you some recommendations as well, which is good. So many times it becomes people come ego focused when it comes to websites, and they go over exceptionally pretty websites. And when they do that, sometimes it can slow it down. It can make it super clunky, because they're investing thousands and thousands of dollars on videos and high res images, but really what it's doing is it's slowing down the website. The load speed's very slow. It breaks on a mobile, or else the website is actually too complicated for you to update. My first website I ever got was for my fitness business, and it was a WordPress website, and the developer made it in code, which means I could never ever access it or do anything. I couldn't make any changes. So I learned from the early days that I made the rule that I would always have control over everything it is that I do when it comes to my marketing and my software, because I want to be able to go in, I want to be able to change stuff when I want to be able to do that. And obviously, we also have OBM Hub as an all-in-one marketing platform, which also is a website builder. And that, of course, is drag and drop, making it so easy for you to be able to do that. No code required. So one of the most important things is to have a mobile-friendly website and a fast-loading website, because people's attention spans are so incredibly slow. I'm sure if you ask yourself, if you went to a website and a website was taking a long time to load, what would you do? You'd click off that website and you wouldn't come back, right? And if you found it hard to navigate, you wouldn't continue to navigate through that website as well. So it is important that it doesn't just look pretty, but it is actually user-friendly as well, because at the end of the day, your website is the door to your business. And if that door opens slowly, you may actually lose people walking through. So more than 70% of website traffic now comes from mobile devices. So that's huge. So a lot of people are on mobile devices checking your website. And Google uses both speed and mobile usability as ranking factors. So when your site is slow or unresponsive, visitors bounce before they can read your content. So that's when you get on there and it just gets stuck and it bounces and you can't even see it. Google ranks your competitors higher. So I think this is really important to note as well. If you have got dodgy stuff set up, Google, who's the biggest search engine in the entire world, they're just going to go, you're dodgy, and they're not going to actually rank you as high as they would people who've got things that are in good working order. But I am going to share with you today what good working order looks like and how you can do it yourself. On top of it, paid ads will cost more, because if you're sending them to something that's clunky or broken, there'll be a drop off of people actually converting. And then your trust and your credibility also drops as well. So it is important that it does load quickly and also looks great, and therefore it has a high chance of conversions. So the first thing you want to do is run a speed test. So the first thing probably would be a good idea is to just run a speed test and see where you're at right now and how your site performs. If you go to Google PageSpeed Insights, and I will share the link with our team here, a live audience, you basically just put on your website and it takes a while and it generates a report for you. So the name of that again is Google PageSpeed Insights. It's absolutely free. And there's two options. Once you put the website in, it'll say, this is how we rate you on mobile. This is how we rate you on desktop. Then you click analyze and it will give you a score out of 100 for both mobile and desktop. So what you're looking for is 90 plus is obviously excellent. 70 to 89 is room for improvement, and below 70 needs urgent attention. You'll also see in opportunities and diagnostics that will show you where your site is slowing down, such as uncompressed images or unused plugins. We use something else as well. It's called, it's a Microsoft product. We don't use Microsoft, but it is a Microsoft product. It's called Microsoft Clarity. And that also runs tests on our website as well and sends us a weekly report on what we need to be looking at. So I would recommend this to be a monthly task. A monthly task is to test your website, especially if you're adding new blogs and images, videos. You want to make sure that you're not slowing down your website when you do all of this. So step 2 then is that you want to get your website more mobile friendly. So you want to use a responsive theme or a template. We had this recently where somebody in OBM Hub, which is our high level product, they, instead of going and using a template for a website, they decided just to build it rather than have a template. And then to make it mobile friendly was an absolute nightmare. So it is better to rather use a responsive theme or template. With WordPress, you'd be looking at something like Elementor. And basically then what will happen is it'll automatically adjust to fit in a mobile. So it makes things significantly easy for you. You also want to make sure that the buttons are large and easy to tap. And actually they work. We test our website quite regularly, and we found that some of our buttons actually weren't working. So at the end of the day, technology is great when it works, and when it doesn't work, it's not great, right? So you've got to go in and you've just got to check, your buttons and make sure everything is working. You also want to make sure that there's white space around your buttons so that it's clear that that is a button. Just an FYI, the most clicked on color for buttons is actually red, but you get to make that decision as to whether or not you want to have red as part of your brand. But apparently button clickers like red for some reason, and especially males. Number 3 is you want to make sure that you're simplifying your menu. So you want to stick to the most important pages and avoid long drop downs. Number 4 is optimize your text and your images. This one is huge. Use a readable font of 16 px plus and scale images for mobile view. This is really important. Somebody sent me the other day a landing page, and the font was like in this little cursive like scribey font. And it was so tiny, and even with glasses, even with trying to blow it up, it was too small for me. So especially if your ideal client is in an older demographic, you probably want to make sure that your font is of a readable size. But I'm going to go to the next level and say also make sure that it's a nice font to read. I don't like scribey fonts. I find them very hard to read. Number 5 is avoiding intrusive pop-ups. And for those of you who work one-on-one with me, you hear me say it all the time. People don't want a pop-up that pops up straight away, right in your face, blocks out so you can't see anything. You want something rather just to slide in, sit on the side after a certain amount of time where people can click off easily, so that it's a little bit more subtle and also gives the user just a bit of a chance just to like have a bit of a first impression with your business. And then, of course, preview it on multiple devices. So, one of my girlfriends, she's got Android. I'm an Apple girl. So often when we go to each other's houses, it's like, oh, can I look at my stuff on your devices? Because she's got an HP website and an Android. I've got all Apple. So, and when you look at it, it's like, that looks completely different to how it looks on my device. So it's important that you go and actually look at how it looks across everyone else's device. Because at the end of the day, it's got to be easy to read, to scroll, and to click easily. All right, so here are some of the simple ways. So step 3, simple ways that you can improve your website speed. Okay, so the first one is compressing your images. So you can use something called Tiny PNG, or even in Canva, you can use Canva exporting settings. You want to aim for files that are under 300 KB. So you want the files to be under 300. You want to reduce the homepage sliders and videos. So you want to replace it with one strong hero image and call to action. Once you start putting heaps of videos onto your website, it can slow the website down. You want to minimize your plugins or your add-ons because it starts to slow everything down as well. Not only that, but you've got to manage all those things as well. So we were having an issue with ours, and we found that a developer had uploaded some sort of plugin that we weren't even using, and it was really destroying like our whole page speed. So have a look at your plugins, go into the website, look at the plugins and go, what are these plugins? Do I actually need these plugins? And get rid of the ones that you don't need. Enable browsing caching. So this speeds up repeat visits. Minify your code. So most web developers, now a lot of people aren't coding anymore, but I always ask. Someone recently went and asked somebody to do a landing page, and the developer came back and I said, well, I'd said to them before the developer did it, are they doing code or are they doing a template? She goes, I don't know. And I said, well, before they do anything, please make sure that it's not code, because if it's code, you're not going to be able to do anything with it, right? So you just want to make sure that you're going to use as little code as possible. You want to avoid third-party embeds, so extra widgets or pop-ups all increase load time. All right, so step 4, you want to manage and maintain your website regularly. So this is really important. So for the business owners who are doing it themselves, I would say inside your monthly calendar, put it on the first Monday of the month or the first Friday of the month, dedicate an hour towards it, and in it just put monthly reoccurring website maintenance. Okay, if you are doing it yourself, if you're not paying someone else to do it, you need to be doing it. If the virtual assistants are doing it, they've got to make sure that monthly they are doing it as well. I know for my virtual assistants, because they're going in weekly to do blogs. When they go in weekly to do blogs, they'll also just check a little bit of the SEO, and they'll also look at a bit of the data and optimization as well. But a major one should probably be Tommy. Can you hear the dog? He's like throwing a ball around. Yeah, so you just want to make sure that it is in your calendar, because if it's not in your calendar, it's not happening, right? So a fast site requires care and maintenance. So weekly, you want to be testing contact forms and main call to actions. So weekly is contact forms and the main call to action buttons, right? Monthly, you should be checking analytics for how high bounce rates or slow pages. And as I said, we get a weekly report now coming in. Quarterly, you want to clean up your media library and delete unused plugins. That's quarterly. And annually, you want to renew your domain, your SSL certificate, and audit your hosting plan. Okay, so for those of you who are interested in hosting, we can connect you to a hosting company that we use, and I'll explain a little bit more when we go into hosting about how good hosting and domain providers is so imperative for a healthy website. So if you use WordPress, you want to make sure that you are backing up before updating anything. And if you're on Wix or Squarespace or OBM Hub, you don't have to worry about it, because that's all handled automatically through the system. So step 5 is when you need a developer and when you don't. Okay, so you do not need a developer for editing text, images, or layout changes, creating new pages with drag and drop tools, adding forms, buttons, or lead magnets, updating SEO titles and descriptions. Believe it or not, the business owner, the virtual assistants can all manage those tasks quite easily. You do need a developer for custom coded features or API integrations, repairing broken code or databases, advanced e-commerce or membership setups, large migrations between platforms you might need a developer for. All right, so number 6, choosing a reliable host or domain provider. Now, in the olden days, it was kind of like when I first started out in business, I'd go to MailChimp, and I'd go to MailChimp for emails, and I'd go to Crazy Domains to get my domains, until I realized that what do you say? What's the saying? When you pay peanuts, you get monkeys, right? Same thing. It's exactly the same thing. So spending just a little bit more on your hosting and your domain means you can have much better service. So here's what you look for. So speed and uptime, a minimum of 99.9% uptime and local service for your main audience. You want security, so an SSL certificate. So if you go to your website, if you're unsure if you have an SSL certificate, and everybody should, especially if you're taking payment on your website, when you look at your URL up at the top, there's going to be a little lock there. And if there's a little lock, then you have an SSL certificate. All right. You pay, it's not a lot of money, pay it, but it's SSL certificate. You've got security on it. If you go to a website and where the URL is on the left-hand side, instead of a lock, it'll say not secure. That means that does not have an SSL certificate. Now, this is good for you because potentially you might want to purchase something off a website. Now you'll know whether or not that website's actually got like security in place. You want to make sure that a reliable host and domain provider's got good support, so it's fast and it's responsive. And location is really important. So if you're in Australia, you really should choose Australian servers, because if you're using servers that are outside of Australia, they're going to be slower. So for example, the provider that we use, he's a Gold Coast based business, and they do their domain and hosting, and their service is absolutely impeccable. They get back to you within a couple of hours. When I was in my camper van down at Mackenzie's in New South Wales last weekend, I was with a friend of mine who's got a business, and she said to me, "Oh, my website's down. I don't know what to do, and it's a long weekend. My web developer is not answering. Obviously, it's a long weekend." And I said, "Who's your provider?" And her provider was the same provider as me. So I said, "I'll contact them now." And I contacted them, and they sorted it out within us drinking a glass of wine. It was sorted out. So we actually bypassed the web developer, went straight to the actual domain and hosting provider, which is great, because it obviously you can get charged extra if it goes through the website person. So let's have a look. So yes, as I said, we can connect you if you want a connection. If you're in Australia and you want a connection to a fast, reliable company, I can connect you to them. Cool. So number 7 is before I get on to number 7, if you are using OBM Hub, you still have to obviously have a domain. You've still got to purchase your domain, which is kind of like your address. But if you are using OBM Hub, you don't need a host, because the hosting is included in OBM Hub's fees. So step 7 is about OBM Hub website builder. So many businesses are using high level or moving across to high level, and OBM Hub is a high level product. So I thought it'd be important for me just to explain how that actually fits in with their website builder. So it builds fast, mobile responsive pages with drag and drop. Literally, it's just drag and drop, that easy. You can optimize SEO, images, and speed automatically. So it's really, really quick and easy to do. You can capture leads directly into your CRM. You can trigger automations, emails, and booking confirmations instantly. And you can integrate payments, analytics, and pipelines. It's all in one system though, which is really all. So it means you've got fewer tools and fewer things that are stuck together. Means that it will load faster, it's smoother management, and it's easier for you or your VA to manage it. Okay, so here are some of the common mistakes that people make when it comes to their website and their mobile experience. So these are the 10 biggest speed and performance mistakes. Number 1 is uploading large uncompressed files, images, especially if they're over 1 megabyte. Okay, so I think earlier on we spoke about 300 gigabyte as being the recommended. Number 2 is using too many sliders, videos, or animations on the home page. So think about whether or not you've got too many animations. Number 3 is excessive plugins or widgets. Number 4 is not using caching or minification settings in the builder or host. 5 is failing to optimize images for web, so like the wrong format or the wrong dimensions. 6 is using slow or cheap hosting with poor server response times. Number 7 is ignoring mobile optimization in favor of desktop designs. In fact, it's the other way around now. You want to make sure it looks better on a mobile than on a desktop. Number 8 is not testing the site speed regularly after adding new content. So remember, we recommend that you test it at least once a month. Having external scripts, like for example, pop-ups, chat box, or analytics that are loading before the page content, and then using outdated website themes or templates. So it is important to run updates on your website. So the mobile experience mistakes, the top 10, are designing only for desktop and assuming it looks good on a phone. Number 2 is the text is too small to read without zooming. So remember we spoke earlier about having a font size of 16. Buttons are too close together, so accidentally you tap the wrong thing. Sometimes you'll see buttons are almost like overlapping each other. Menus are too long and hard to open on a mobile. Pop-ups are covering important content or blocking navigation. Images and videos not scaling properly for mobile scenes. No mobile testing across the different devices, so Android versus Apple. Not considering thumb-friendly navigation, so buttons too high or too big. And think about ladies with long nails. I saw this lady the other day, and she's admin, and she works hours and hours on a desktop. And her nails, she has these long pointy nails. And I was like, how do you even do that? So yeah, take that into consideration. Overloaded layouts that look cluttered on small screens. Forgetting mobile first SEO practices like fast load time and mobile schema. So number 3 is the user experience mistakes, because at the end of the day, whatever we do has got to be user-friendly, right? If it's not user-friendly, it's not going to work. You could have the prettiest website in the world. It could even fulfill all the speed tests that you like, but if it's not user-friendly, it's not going to convert. So number 1 is confusing navigation. So too many menu items and not enough clear paths, weak call to actions, or too many competing call to actions. So it's like, I want you to do this, I want you to do that, I want you to do this, I want you to do that. Not including clear contact information or booking links above the fold. Broken links and outdated content. A lot of times people don't go and update their footers. So when they update their website, they don't update the footers to match the new layout of the website that they've done. Broken links and outdated content, long text heavy pages without spacing, icons, or visuals, auto playing videos or music in the background, poor color contrast, making the text hard to read. We had this the other day. One of the business owners had reversed their colors. So they did black, it was black, green, white, and gray, and then they reversed the colors. But when they reversed the colors, you actually couldn't see the green writing on the black. It was too faint. Too much jargon, so unclear messaging that confuses users, using stock photos that don't represent the brand, ignoring analytics, so not tracking what users actually do on site. So previously in a masterclass, I spoke about heat maps and using a heat map on your website to see how long people are actually staying and where they're touching and what they're actually doing. So technical and maintenance mistakes, and this is important because if you're the person managing your website, these are things that you should be doing. So not updating plugins or software, creating security risks, no SSL certificate, no backups or version control, not renewing domains or hosting on time, not setting up redirects after changing URLs. That one's really important. A lot of time people change URLs and forget to actually set up the redirect. Forgetting about accessibility compliance. This is something interesting. I'm exploring this at the moment. So making my website more friendly for, they call it accessibility, for those that have challenges. Not structured SEO titles and meta descriptions. Skipping image alt tags that support SEO and accessibility. So important. Not testing forms regularly, so leads go missing without notice. We've actually just set up now a whole reporting system at the moment. So every week we know how many lead magnets were submitted, how many of those were opened, who of the people that were clicking on it, how many people booked a call, and then we retarget those that didn't book a call. So we're actually using the F principle, which is following through with the strategy. So rather than just have a lead magnet, we're actually following through with that lead magnet and respecting those leads. No sitemaps submitted to Google Search Console. So really, really important that you have a look at your Google Search Console and make sure that your website map has been submitted. Hosting and platform mistakes. So choosing a host based purely on price, not performance. Seriously, it is worth, I think the company that we use is about $8 more a month compared to anyone else. But based on how fast and responsive they are, it is worth every cent. Using overseas servers because they're slower, paying for hosting when your platform already includes it. So for example, like OBM Hub, a lot of business owners carry on with their hosting, paying for hosting when they don't need it if they're using OBM Hub for their website. Not separating domain registration from hosting. Sometimes companies will bundle them together, like a web developer might bundle your hosting and your domain together. And when you try to separate them, sometimes they can be full of SH1T, but really they should allow you to be able to do that. You should be able to go wherever you want to go. I call it being held hostage, and it's a common thing. Neglecting DNS setup or misconfigurations. DNS setups are so important for getting your emails open. Forgetting to set up custom email addresses with the domain. So when you have a domain, obviously set up a good email address to go with it. Relying on free builders with ads that damage credibility, using outdated website platforms that aren't mobile optimized, not scaling hosting resources as site traffic grows, no monitoring tools or uptime alerts to detect downtime. So basically, maintenance. As I said, put it in your calendar right now, once a month, spend an hour. I don't believe it's going to take you an hour, but spend an hour going over the website and having a look at all of those things to make sure that it's right. So last but not least, strategy and conversion mistakes. No clear marketing funnel or next step for visitors, because we know people don't buy straight away, they buy further down the line. So it's all about capturing the leads on the website and nurturing them through to book a call or make a sale, right? No lead captures, so freebies, quizzes, forms, or offers. Not aligning the website content with the audience pain points. I always say hook, connection, credibility, call to action. Pain is so incredibly important when it comes to marketing, because you have to connect with them on their pain and aspiration. Inconsistent brand messaging or visuals, and that's why we always start with what those are. Forgetting to connect the site to a CRM or email automation. So obviously if you've got OBM Hub, they'll connect quite easily. But if you've got a separate website and email platform, you've got to make sure that they are talking to each other. We're working with a client who had a massive marketing team. She had 2 different marketing teams, I think, that were working with her. And massive business, lots of traffic to the website. She's got social media happening from all over the place. She's a public speaker. And I kept saying to her, something's wrong. Like, you have lead captures on your website, but nothing's coming in to your emails. When we go in and have a look, you're getting no new leads coming in. No, they've said it all, it's all working, it's all talking. So anyway, they've recently now moved everything across to OBM Hub. When they did that, the virtual assistant found out that so the people that have been submitting the form, none of them had actually been added to the email list. So she lost out on leads for about a year. It was insane. No Google business profile linking back to the website. So make sure that your website is set up on your Google My Business listing. Not integrating analytics tools like Google Tag Manager or Metapixel. Ignoring local SEO opportunities. Failure to showcase social proof. So reviews, testimonials, and trust logos. So every website, I'm sure all your websites have that on them. Not updating your website content to reflect your current offers. So I was working with a business owner about 3 weeks ago, and we were going through all the offers and everything that they were doing, and we had a look at it, and they were like, there's none of that offer. That offer's not even on the website. And like, oh, we haven't updated the website in about the last 5 years. And he said to me, we haven't done in the last 5 years, but this is our offer. And I'm like, okay, but it's not even on the website. So just making sure that the website is updated. Yeah, so make sure that the website content is reflecting current offers or events. Okay, so if you do have a high-level product or OBM Hub, you want to make sure that you customize the mobile view for each page using the padding and the button spacing. You check the page load times inside the OBM Hub site preview. You replace the default funnel images with optimized ones before publishing. You use SEO settings, so titles, descriptions, and alt text inside the editor platform. And then you connect your pages to the automation triggers, so forms, bookings, emails. So, and for all those who have OBM Hub or high level, I know the Freedom Trader does with NOMI. They have high level. So, Daryl, you said, I think you've got it as well. You want to make sure then you'll understand that when you go into the platform, you can go back, listen to this, to what I've said, and go in. But if it's anything like OBM Hub, our high level product, we've actually got heaps of, we've got a help center that will help you with all of that. So at the end of the day, you want a fast website. You want efficient, you want it to be mobile friendly. So you constantly want to be checking it. My VAs know that they don't show me a landing page until it has been optimized on mobile. Although many of them have said to me, Chantal, it's better for us to get it right on a desktop and then automatically switches and then we alter it, because sometimes I want major changes. But most of the time we're checking stuff on our phone. So just make sure, if you haven't done it already, to go do it. So once again, I'll just say that name again. It's Google PageSpeed, what is it? Google PageSpeed Insights. That's an immediate task I want everybody to do straight away. Google PageSpeed Insights. It is free. You put your website into that link and it will tell you what it's rating on mobile and on desktop, and how you and how you stand out compared to everyone else. So thanks so much to our live audience on YouTube who are watching right now. If you haven't already, please subscribe and click the notification button, and also leave us a comment below. Our live audience and I now are going to go through and discuss our learnings and our takeaways, as well as discuss the SOP checklists that they'll be getting this Thursday. If you'd like to be part of the live audience, make sure that you check the comments below and find out how.